Hey guys, so the AD tier list was earlier, and now time for the mid lane using pretty much the same format. A best tier, an A tier, and then a B tier, ranking only the top 10 champions in the role though. You can play a lot of different stuff mid lane right now, but these I think are specifically better at leaving a bright red mark when you spank somebody in solo queue. Twisted Fate is the best mid you can play because he is the easiest to climb with by a mile. He's got a very simple kit. You just have to pick a card and you throw out your skill shot on a stun target who cannot dodge it. Your ultimate actually creates a lot of pressure around the map without you necessarily having to even use it. Like, your team is not as likely to get destroyed basically because at least higher up, I guess, people play with a bit more respect. You can roam amazingly well, but honestly your mid game is so good. You catch people, your damage becomes insane. You also take towers really fast, so it's like one of the few picks who could actually just split push or team fight. Having a low cooldown stun is so broken. It forces the enemy AD to buy a QSS basically, waste 1300 of his gold, and you're still going to do the damage. Honestly, he is so good if you just want to rush a new tier before the end of the season. Now Malzahar is very easy to play as well, but really hard to play against, which is like the solo queue special combo. You press EW and then your ult, and they're going to die pretty much. If not, your team can follow up anyway. You shut down assassins super hard, like you have a point and click crowd control, which is crazy. You roam really well with your ultimate, you're good in the lane phase, and you're even good in team fights as well. Not only are you easy to play though, like it's so easy playing with a Malz on your team. You group, you let him flash R, and you basically win the game from that. If that's not enough, he has butt time damage and he has a silence as well, which is not fun. So A tier is still really good. I like to think of these guys as kind of the good solo carry tier of champions. Orianna is really strong early and can snowball out of control. Something that if I told you 6 months ago, you would have probably called me mad, but actually now you're starting to see it a lot more. It's weird for a champion who also has some defense, but I feel like the fact that her win rate is highest before 25 minutes this patch says a lot. It's hard to trade with her, it's hard to not get pushed on a tower, and team fighting against her early can be brutal. If you ever want to get near to her, like, you're going to lose 60 to 70% of your health just with her combo, so good players can abuse weaker ones. Really, she doesn't have a proper counter in lane either, so you can reliably get ahead each game, and that sets you up for a good mid game. Where Orianna's ultimates can be massive in the mid game, Kassadin kind of has a dip mid game. This is the only reason I wouldn't put him higher up. His early is surprisingly strong. If you don't shut him down and he hits 6, you're probably going to be in trouble. That even becomes worse if he gets kills early. He will roam around and he will one-shot your entire team. You can't like limit this guy to just one lane. He's kind of tanky with Rod, but stupid burst with Lichbane. Basically an assassin that's kind of a mage, I guess, slippery as balls and still packs a punch. Katarina has had a big spike up this patch and is pretty similar to Kassadin for at least 2 things, right? She gets ahead in the game, it's kind of going to be over. She's also a ticking time bomb, so if you don't punish her pre-6, it becomes really hard to do it. Like, you get close, you're probably going to die. I am actually legit afraid of a good Katarina in solo queue. At least if you make one mistake in the lane, it's normally over, and that's going to be her time to shine. She'll roam, she'll basically one-shot with her ultimate, and that's like where her daggers barely matter actually. Her dagger system is very hard to master, but obviously very good, but any idiot can press WR and deal a crap ton of damage. She's also one of the few who can beat Orianna's early game, plus other meta mid laners actually, which makes her life getting ahead much easier, and that is why she's A tier. Finally, then we have Syndra. Stat websites always show her as having a dog poo win rate because 1, a lot of bad players play her because she's popular, and 2, she is immobile and very punishing. If you make a mistake, you're probably going to die for it, honestly, but you have really strong laning, a ton of damage, and a lot of room to really carry with her. In teamfights, you're going to be able to burst really hard, right? That's kind of the Syndra special. She just presses her skill button and somebody dies, but you can also pump out a lot of consistent damage from Q and W, so you're a threat at the start and the whole way through, if that makes sense. It's pretty rare, honestly, that a Syndra won't get a solo kill or attract a lot of jungle attention, and that's a really good thing to have on your team. Moving on to the B tier, because this video is the top 10 champions, these are still actually really good, but just placed a little bit lower down. Ahri is a staple mid laner. You cannot go wrong with playing her, basically like the Caitlyn in mid lane. The difference to Syndra is you can mess up, but you will probably survive anyway. This means you actually learn the role, the matchup, and the game probably 10 times faster. You're making mistakes, which is probably the fastest way to learn, but you aren't costing your team the game, if that makes sense. It's kind of silly, really. You have so much mobility. You have your charm for like crowd control and picks. You have your heals with your passive, so you can stay in lane a bit longer. You can wave clear, and you have a lot of all-in potential as well. You can even roam with your ultimate, like gap close a whole screen away. Like, she's probably the most well-rounded pick in the entire mid lane and great for both beginners and good players. So Taliyah is going to be B tier now after the recent nerfs, but still the roam god that she used to be, honestly. I feel like she kind of struggles a bit more in the lane phase now and is a bit more punishing if you're not paying attention. You don't really pick her for a lane though, honestly. You pick her because you can roam and basically win the map really by yourself. It's always been the way, right? Push and roam. Legit, like, that's mid lane climbing 101. If you suck or you're new to mid lane but you still want to win games, you push and you roam all day every day. Talon is a really strong pick and could be in tier A. I think he's not too hard to play, but he has an insane amount of damage. He also follows this push and roam style, except he brings a lot more damage to the party. A lot more. You can end up snowballing out of control with this one and really styling on kids, but as an assassin, you're still going to have that issue of what happens if you cannot end fast enough. Zed is the same story as Talon, except I think he is a bit more room to kind of show some skill, and honestly probably easier to get a kill in the lane phase, just worse at roaming. I think roaming is better for solo queue, which is why Talon is first, but he's still pretty popular and he's still doing okay. He's also that pick that if he gets out of control will just solo kill somebody over and over and over. That is one of the best things I think about Zed. Like if you get a lead, you have your W to use forward, plus your ultimate makes it so easy and keep getting more kills and growing your lead. Honorable mention time, LeBlanc in the right hands is really strong, but she's kind of hit and miss a little bit. Some games you dumpster everybody. Some games you don't really have that much impact. Another one is Anivia in the hands of a good player. She is so strong and pretty hard to play against. Actually, you get close to her, you're probably going to lose over half your health. Vlad is not as common, but his team fights can be pretty insane. 1 second, he will do like no damage and you think he's just an inter basically. The next, he'll pop the enemy AD in less than a second. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for checking out the mid lane tier list for this patch. Remember to check out the AD one as well. Thank you for watching, but for now, I'll leave you with the robots.